One of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid was The Golden Girls. Half the jokes went over my head because they were too mature for my little brain, but they could get away with it because of their age and how sweet they all looked. My favorite thing they used to do were their clips shows. Clip shows just meant they went back and looked at the highlights from previous episodes. Now, granted, they did it because they were getting up in the years and they couldn't record like an average sitcom cast would. So I only do one of these a year. This is for 2025. I have several folks for you today. We're going to visit with John Miller, net best-selling author from QBQ. Emily Hurd going to talk to us about dopamine discipline. One of my good local friends who is an AI expert, Katherine Good, and then I have several messages in between for you on my own. So take a sit back and listen. So let's start with John G. Miller, question behind the question, telling us what questions we should be asking ourselves.
When am I going to find vendors who support me in a better way? I mean, any question that points outward, like the problem is out there, instead of asking, what can I do to be my best today? How can I be more creative in my approach to the market? What can I do to learn new skills? So anything that goes outward is an externalizing question. We call it an incorrect question in the QBQ book, an IQ, incorrect question. But the QBQ, the question behind the question, is a question that comes back to me taking complete ownership for my results.
In reading this, and I remember when I first heard it, 98% of everybody that I talked to loved it. And even thinking back at ServPro, but there was a couple of percent of folks that they'd still mumble and grumble. And well, of course he would say that, but they don't understand my situation. They don't understand how this is for me. And there's nothing I can do about it. And I've heard you say this before. There's like a couple of myths around accountability. Can you kind of delve into that a little bit more?
Yeah, and I'm going to show the book. We do cover this in the QBQ book, and I think it's important. And here's why, Charles. If you say to somebody, do you believe in accountability? Everybody will say yes.
Of course. Who's going to say no?
Right. And if you say, not that I would say it this way because it kind of pins people down, but if you said, do you know what accountability is? Everybody would say, oh, absolutely. Well, at least in the corporate world, the organizational world, and this means from corporate to government to churches, we've bought into a couple myths. One myth is we think accountability is something I do to someone else, meaning I'm a manager, I'm going to hold my team accountable. Now, don't get me wrong, managers, we should be setting standards and objectives and coaching to goals. And sometimes we have to confront and sometimes we have to pray. But QBQ and accountability is not about me holding Charles accountable.
Next, I'm talking to you about setting one goal for this year and the what and the why behind it, which is the perfect time of year for me to be talking about this with you. I've also learned to kind of break free from some of those stale cliches and all of the pressure that social media and my own dumb brain can put on me when it comes to goals. Goals need to be simple. They need to be smart. They need to be attainable. But as much or more than anything, they've got to be attached to something. They got not just your why, but it has to have a deeper meaning. For example, the main point I want to get across to you here is that we all need at least one goal for whatever it's going to be, a 90-day period, a 12-month period. I'm not real big into creating like 5-year goals and trying to work my way backwards into them because what I do changes so often. And so do you. Start with a revenue goal. Okay. Now, here is the mistake that many of us make, myself included, and I've done it year after year, where I will set a revenue goal. I'll simply take a look at what I made one year and then the next year up it by 10 or 20%. Oh, I had a zero behind it. That's fine. But there has to be a reason for it. What will that extra money bring you? What will happen because of it? Will it allow you to help more people? Will it allow you to hire somebody that you've been dying to work with? Will it allow you to take more time off? Will it allow you to do personal things? In my house, just making 10% more doesn't mean much, but making 10% more might mean, hey, this family gets to check off a bucket list item of going to Hawaii, or in our case, last year we went to Costa Rica. Or maybe the added dollars will help you offset increased insurance for new drivers into your household, or a better Christmas, or say whatever, but it has to have an attachment, something attached to it. And that's the reason I always go back to a revenue goal. And next is one of my favorite clips from Emily Hurd talking about dopamine discipline. And in this one, she explains what happens every time we go for a dopamine hit.
So the
Hmm.
brain has this level of constant dopamine drip that it is putting out, kind of a homeostasis baseline level that is wanting to get back to. So you have a spike, and then it's going to have this equal and opposite reaction on that seesaw, which is pain. And what that pain feels like, what that withdrawal feels like, see if you can identify, is
Sure.
anxiety,
Ooh.
irritability, insomnia, and dysphoria, which is a state of unhappiness, unease, and dissatisfaction.
So that's going to lead me into this other thing because the dopamine discussion was based on the fact that you had talked about there's these four pillars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing these are the four pillars.
No, these are not the
Oh,
four
what
pillars.
are,
Right, yeah,
okay,
right.
so
So this is just understanding that every time you get a dopamine hit from going to social media, you are going to have this equal and opposite reaction.
every time, so you're telling me, so every time I flip through, let's say LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
or let's use better examples because
Yeah.
like there's seven of us that are flipping through LinkedIn, but
Right.
the rest, everybody else, my kids on TikTok, wife on
Mm.
Instagram, my dad on God, my dad on Facebook. Did you know that, bless his sweetheart, that there's a yeah, dad, I know. It's all bad. It's all bad things.
All
But
bad.
every time they do that,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be one of these, either there's going to be some anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
irritability, they
Mm-hmm.
won't be able to sleep. And I don't even
Mm-hmm.
know what that last word meant, dysphoria.
Dysphoria. So that's unhappiness, unease, and dissatisfaction, which is a state that we all love to experience, right? No, this is
Ah,
uncomfortable. This
we
is
like to complain
uncomfortable.
about it. Yeah.
So these are the universal symptoms of withdrawal from any addictive substance or behavior. So online shopping, social media, YouTube videos, gambling, alcohol, Xanax, sugar, all those things. We're like constantly in this seesaw. And then we don't like the feeling of anxiety and irritability.
And next up is me talking about how to make decisions easily. And no, I don't always practice what I preach. And you got to have a basis for that decision making process as you're faced with decisions each day. First, is it a heck yes? Am I excited about doing it? Will it be a positive thing? And when I say a heck yes, something that actually matters. It can't be doom scrolling. Heck yes, I can't wait to dive through Facebook and see what all Susie had for lunch or what all Bob's kids got for awards this week. But it has to be something that matters. Is it a heck yes? If it isn't, I don't know. Let's look at it. Does it fit within your zone of expertise, also your zone of genius? Is it something you should be doing? Is it something that should be automated, delegated, or possibly even eliminated? Take a look. Is it a heck yes? Am I the only one that can do this? And, beyond that, do you like doing it? And something can be a heck yes that needs to get done, but you don't like doing. And then outside of that, is it the right thing to do? And when I say, is it the right thing to do, is it going to make someone else's day better? Is it going to move you forward? Is it going to be, is it slightly unethical? That I shouldn't even have to cover that one. And then lastly is to create some restraints as you go forward with your decision making. Each of those I gave you is a constraint. Does it fit within your goal this week? Is it a heck yes? Are you the only one that can do it? Is it the right thing to do? And for me, even outside of that, when I create content, I now have to create constraints. Content is a heck yes. I enjoy it. I need to get it done, but I can't have all day to do it. So 60 minutes, I literally will time myself, as nerdy as that sounds, but I get it done. 60 minutes, that's it. Got to make 10 sales calls before I go home. I know I have to leave here at 4 p.m. today to get Lane to workout training by 4:45, and I've got 4 more calls to do, and I've only got 10 minutes in order to reach out to each of these people. So I can't watch another YouTube clip of what I missed last week on SNL. I have to get these done. Boom, boom, boom. Create those constraints. And even when you have meetings, have a constraint for that. If you're having 45-minute to hour-long meetings that don't really go anywhere, make them 25 minutes. Tell somebody you have a hard stop. I don't know why that's a magic phrase, by the way, but saying you have a hard stop does get you out of a lot of things. So those are the tips in order to make decisions a little easier. And if you don't make decisions timely, you're going to be on a never-ending hamster wheel, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to feel like a victim. If you do, it's going to feel like a superpower. Now, Katherine Good with Good Circle Marketing talks about how she uses AI with her team, specifically interns, to do research, and how she trains ChatGPT to come up with some good marketing materials and not just accept whatever it gives you out of the gate.
But they are going to be expected when they graduate to use AI
100%.
because we want our employees to be as efficient as possible. And this is just the way it's going to be. So I have challenged these interns to use prompts to help us. I used to take 10 hours to develop a target market, or audience profile. And with ChatGPT, if we give it the basics, it can expand on that in minutes. And so
Oh, yeah.
why would I not do that, right? Or at least as a starting point in a brainstorming. But for example, with I have them pull taglines based on discovery meetings and transcripts and all these things. I have the interns, ask ChatGPT to give it 5 potential taglines. Well, they're all the same prompt. They're like the 2 words and then a comma and 2 words, right?
Yep.
And so you can say things like think out of the box or give me creative ideas. And so it's this conversation with an assistant. It's not just you take what it
Yep.
gives you and use it as expertise or as fact. You say, okay, this can be better. I don't like this. And you have those conversations, and then you end up getting things good. Or what's even better is what I like to tell the interns is you add to your own. Like, here's an example. It's a keyword that it's picked out as, you say good a lot. I mean, that's clearly my brand. And so
Sure.
I would want the word good in my tagline, but I don't want it just to say, I don't know, whatever, just to, be good or something. Like, I want more to it. And so I can use my expertise and my talent to add to what ChatGPT has given me.
And you make a great point there. So when I first started naming the podcast episodes, I was lazy and kind of let it name it. And then every one of them had kind of the same name. It would be 2 words, colon, and then whatever. And then the words I was just making fun of, secret and unleash. I'm like, man,
Yep.
I had to go back and retrain a little bit. And I say retrain to say, you can't do that and make it look like this and make it look like this. And last but not least is me talking about how to create accountability and stick to it. 2015, I launched my own explainer video business. At the time, I was a full-time business coach, and I was going to coach myself. A coach without a coach. And I literally thought about what I would tell someone else in my shoes. I would write it down, read it out loud, and then I would just do that. Did that for, I don't know, a year, and it flopped big time. I was my own worst coach. Full load. I'm right there with you. If you're tired of trying to hold yourself accountable and you feel frustrated, you feel stuck, that's normal. We're all like that. Today we're going to figure out what to do instead, why trying to go it alone doesn't always work, how to create accountability, and most likely how to do it with leveraging other folks, which is what we should be doing. And I'm going to even give you a quick few ways on how to do it, and then I'll give you some reasons why it really works. Let me give you a couple of main points here. Trying to hold yourself accountable wears super thin, and there is a ton of scientific evidence on why the on your own doesn't really work. A really good book, I was about to say one of my favorite books, man, it's a big one, Influence by Robert Cialdini, which I always butcher this dude's name. Super smart guy, and the book Influence is talking about all of these levers that you use in order to create influence over others, in order to get them to buy your product, do whatever you need them to do. But one of the main levers is through commitment and accountability, basically. Studies have shown that public commitment increases the likelihood of achieving a goal by up to 65% of you doing it on your own. Now, let me clarify when I say public announcement. A lot of people will do this every year, January 1, go to Facebook and declare, good God, something, whatever. This is the year I lose 100 pounds. And then everybody's, oh my God, Stacy, androgynous name. Good for you. So proud. Hashtag, hashtag, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I mean. And even in a lot of those cases, it just invites open, snarky comments, people to make passive aggressive shots at you. When I'm talking about an open commitment, it's with someone else who also has their own things they're trying to do. And they're going to, by nature of knowing about it, help commit you. And it doesn't have to be in a public forum. All right. Another point is our willpower runs out. I have an entire episode look back on why willpower falls short. We use it all day long. We use it inappropriately on what we're going to eat, what we're going to wear, discipline the kids, what we're not going to drink, and 1,000 other things in your business all day long. And by the time it gets to where you need to be accountable for the real things you want to accomplish, it's gone. And then last point here, if you're in a group, which is what I prefer for accountability, not just one-on-one, but in a group of other people, like-minded people who are trying to accomplish something similar to what you're trying to accomplish, then once you see them do it, what can be done? Once you see them overcome little obstacles in the way, that it can be done.
And I'll wrap up that last segment saying I also offer one-on-one video message coaching and one-on-one voice message coaching on a weekly basis that helps hold you accountable. And yeah, that's an open pitch. And the reason I offer it in that style, in order to do more by doing less, I know as you start out down that path, blocking out an hour for a full conversation and then expecting you to do all of the things and catch up with you in a month later may not always work. So take advantage of that. Go to yourcharlesalexander.com to see the different packages I offer to help hold you accountable. Or you can reach out to me directly at charles@yourcharlesalexander.com. Have a great day and look forward to doing more of this with you in 2026.